Welcome to Love Connection, where old-fashioned romance meets modern-day technology, where you hear all the intimate details of a first date. And now, here's the host of Love Connection, Chuck Woolery.
Now, a few weeks ago, our studio audience selected a date for her. She's back to tell us about that date. She describes herself as wild and flirtatious, but she's not interested in a man. If she's not interested in him, she gives him a wrong number. That's what I'm trying to say. She says that her taste in music is unusual for someone her age. She makes her living as a sign language interpreter for the deaf. Please welcome Mindy Brown. Hi, Mindy. How are you? Nice to see you. Fine. Well, Mindy's going to be signing as she speaks, so this is what's happening here. She's just not into the song. So, how did you become interested in sign language?
Well, I was working with old people in a nursing home, and they don't hear very well anyway, so I decided, why not try sign language? And I thought it was really cool. So that's how I got involved.
Did they understand? I mean, just because they couldn't hear doesn't necessarily mean they understood sign language.
Do the old people understand me?
Yes.
Sort of. If you, like, move your body a lot, they understand.
Tell me about your tastes in music.
Well, my favorite people to see are Steve and Edie.
Gourmet?
Which, yes.
Oh. You seem a little young. I don't, well, you just seem young to like them, but they're great. I agree.
They're wonderful people, and when I was growing up, those are the kind of shows that my mom and dad would take me to see, and when I would be in the audience, I'd be the youngest person there. There'd be all these old people around me, and I'd be screaming the loudest, because I think they're wonderful.
And with all those old people, you probably had to sign a lot, too. Okay. Mindy agreed to let the audience choose her date. We're going to show everybody the three men they had to choose from. Here they go. First, Mitch. He admits that he's a neat freak, and he wants a woman who won't change him. Next, there was Tim. He admits that his relationships usually don't last very long. And finally, Rich. He says that when a woman gets out with him, or goes out with him, she can expect an adventure instead of a date. We're going to find out which man the audience selected. We'll do it. 2 and 2. Be right back at you. We're back now. Remind us who the audience picked for you.
The audience picked Rich.
All right. He's backstage. Say hello to Rich Fitzgerald. Hi, Rich.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Make yourself at home back there, and start with Mindy.
Hi, Mindy.
Hi, Rich.
Tell me about the date.
Well, I got the phone number from Love Connection, and I called him up at work because I kind of wanted...
Okay, hang on just a second. How was Love Connection signed?
Love Connection.
Oh, that's kind of neat. And you called him at work?
I called him at work because I wanted to a little bit embarrass him in front of his friends and coworkers. Anyway, and he sounded very nice on the telephone. And we talked a little bit, and he asked me if he wanted to plan the date. So I said, okay, you go ahead, you do it. And he asked me if I had any fears. I said none. So whatever you have planned, I am excited and willing to do.
Oh, that's interesting. So what did you come up with, Rich?
Well, I wanted to surprise her. I wanted to come up with something pretty adventurous. So I did this thing called Air Combat USA.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
Well, basically, you go to the airport, you go through a briefing, put on a flight suit, put on parachute, helmet, everything. You then climb into a Marchetti SF-240 fighter trainer, real aircraft, not a simulator.
You mean like a jet or a...
It's a prop job.
Prop.
You then get into the aircraft with a pilot. You take off.
Yes.
And you go up in the air and you attempt to shoot each other down. She said she was
That's what I call
adventurous.
adventure. Are you serious? And you... Oh, that sounds like
Oh, and
fun,
I didn't
actually.
tell her we were doing this.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
No.
So did he come to your house, or did...
He showed up at my house, and he showed up with flowers and a beautiful little card, and we were driving to the place. He didn't tell me where we were going or anything, and we kind of got lost going there.
Yeah, so you jump in the airplane, and what do you
So
do?
we get in the airplane, and we take off, and we're up there, and we're in separate planes, of course, and we're up in the air, and we
Here,
go
I'll
back
help you.
and forth. Exactly. Perfect, John.
No, she was more like that.
So out there, we're going back and forth, and at the same time, we're being videotaped the whole time. And
Really?
Yeah, and they give it to us after that, so it's really exciting. So we're up there, and we're going back and forth and back and forth. And then the pilot that's with you says, okay, now it's your turn. So they give you over
That
to
was the
controls.
scary part.
And
They
so
let you
I-
take over the
They
control?
let us take over the controls. So I pulled it back. I
How
said,
high?
I wanna
How
do a
high are you
flip.
flying here, Rich?
We're about 5,500 feet, doing about 140 miles an hour. But she was all over the sky. The pilot lost track of her. So I asked him, too. I said, have you had anybody worse than this? He just looked at me with a straight face and said, no.
So we landed, and then it was getting late, so we had to hurry up, and we went back to his house.
It's a two-part date.
Two-part date, right. And we went back to his house and walked the dog and everything like that really fast. And we went into his bedroom so he could show me where to change my clothes. And
No. We changed in separate parts of the house. We did. And I had to see if the dog liked her. If the dog didn't like her, then the date was over. So.
Yeah, right.
Hey, he liked her.
So what happened?
So I sat down on the bed. I said, come here, sit next to me. He was real nervous. He sat down next to
Now,
me.
you're talking to the dog or to him?
Well, the dog came up to me right away. Rich didn't want to, but anyway, came up to me, said to him, just a little kiss.
Really?
And that was nice. And then he left. We changed our clothes,
Now,
and
was
we went out.
tell me, you describe the first kiss to me, Rich.
Well, after you've been up in the air and you're pulling 4Gs and doing barrel rolls and shooting at each other, the romance part of it, it's losing a little bit. I did kiss her, but the lips weren't in full functioning order at this point in time, so I needed another chance later. So I gave it a shot.
Did you
though.
feel that as well?
It was just a nice kiss, just to say hi.
So now what happened? You get dressed and you go
So we
where?
got dressed, and we went to this really nice restaurant. We went in there, and there was this big sign that said, Murder Mystery Dinner. And that's one of the things I always wanted to do with my mom. I've been talking about it for a long time, and he treated me to that, so it was really neat. So a bunch of people get together, and they're talking to each other. No one knows anybody. Then someone comes in, commits a murder, kills somebody, and then everybody's suspect. You have to figure out who did it.
So how did this date end?
How did the date end? Okay, well, we finished with the dinner, and then he was driving me home. I slept in the car, I have to admit. I was really tired.
Well, there was something before we left the restaurant as we were...
What's that?
Well, we were sitting at the bar for a little while, and nobody else was in the bar, so there was a little bit more romance, a few more kissing, you know. Had to make up for the bad kiss from earlier.
And did he?
Yes, he's a very good kisser.
Yeah. So you went home.
So he drove me home, and we kissed at the door, and he left. And then 3 days later, he sent me some beautiful exotic flowers with a card that said, I can't talk to you, but I can surprise you.
Oh, sweet.
So it's
Very nice. Sounds like a great date. Really?
It's really nice.
Well, now, since the audience picked Rich for you, we'll pay for the next date if you'd like to ask him out again.
Rich,
Yes,
you want to go out with me again?
I would love to. Are you up for an adventure?
Yep.
Come on out, Rich.
Have a seat.
So now, what does this say? Oh, you have some video? You have video? Oh, that's right. They videotape that thing. So have you got it in the
have a
booth?
camera in the aircraft, so
Yeah.
it's
Let's
being
take a look
videotaped.
at it. She says she has it in the booth.
Hey, Mark, you're in big trouble, baby. So give us trouble.
sorry,
Big
lady.
trouble.
Where are you going now?
I don't know. We're going to get him. Hey, where's he going the other way?
You're driving. You guys are sure being rough for her.
I'll get him. Don't worry about it. Here we go. Oh, he can go from side to side. That's not fair.
There it is, there it is, there it is. Tracking, tracking, tracking. Squeeze it, squeeze it. All right, guns, guns, guns.
How much? Well, I'm definitely going to do that. Now, how much did this cost?
Well, the entire date with the murder mystery and everything else, we're looking at about $1,400.
Holy
But it was well worth it.
Oh, I guess, but gee, well, I'm glad you picked a man with money. Thanks for coming on the show. Good luck with your next date. I can't wait to hear about that. We're going to come back with our next guest. Stay with us. That was fun. He thinks that the only thing that keeps him from being a perfect 10 is that he snores. He once had a date ruined by hamsters. He thinks that when it comes to dating women, they're smarter than men. And he admits that he doesn't like to spend too much on a first date. Please welcome Craig Greenwood. That's right, how are you? Well, so you watch your money on a first date. Why is that?
Well, I don't really watch it, but I try not to spend too much because initially I have the, I guess, the problem of asking out females that I'm very physically attracted to, and I may not initially like those women after 5 or 10 minutes, you know, seeing them or a whole evening with them. So I think, well, you know, gosh, I could have spent my money on a trip or something like that rather than that date last night.
So you build slowly?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Now, you said you had a date ruined by a hamster. I hope this is a really good story.
No, well, it was pretty funny, actually. I show up for this blind date and open up, you know, her apartment. And we look in the living room area, and it's like this habit trail wildlife thing. Like 50 hamsters in there.
50 hamsters?
Yeah, I kind of laughed about it and kind of jokingly said, hey, I stepped on one, and she took it pretty serious. You know? And yeah, after that, I just kind of knew that this date wasn't going to work out that well. But,
you should have told her that you had pythons at home, and these would make great food. Okay, you're going to take a look at the women that Craig had to choose from. Remember, you're going to pick the woman that you think's best for him. Here we go. First, there's Rhonda. She was raised in Idaho, says that she'll try anything on a date except for things that involve getting wet. She admits that her relationships don't last very long, and here's why.
I'm either the older woman, the mother, or the mistress, and that's, you know, that's, it's true. It's true. In a lot of relationships I've been in, it's like someone either will look to me and like want me to mother them, or I will be like the other woman, and obviously that doesn't work out for long.
Okay, next there's Jill. She's a dog lover, and she rates herself higher in personality than she does in looks. She prefers quirky, unusual-looking men, but she hasn't been dating much lately, and here's more on that.
I spend most of my time at the gym working out or at the animal shelter, or I'll take myself out to dinner or to the movies and to a play. And I've learned to do that, and so that way I get out. But then when you're alone and you go someplace, I went to the Comedy and Magic Club to see Jay Leno, and they sat me, the guy goes, you know, he's like, okay, table for one? I'm like, yes.
Finally, Deanne, she has a bachelor's degree from Oklahoma State. On a date, she enjoys movies, concerts, and sporting events. And when she's alone, she likes to read, rent videos, and talk on the phone. Now, she dates about 2 or 3 times a month, and she expects her dates to act like gentlemen. And here's more on that.
You know, the male chivalry seems to be dead, which is kind of sad. Because I was always taught, you know, that a man should be more of a gentleman. And I like that. So I look for that. You open my door, yes, no. If yes, good. You get, you know, you score points. If not, I don't know.
All right, those are the 3 women Craig had to choose from. It's time for you to vote. Who would you send him out with? Make your choice now, please. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll meet the woman that Craig selected. Hear everything that happened on their date. We'll do it. 2 and 2. Be right back at you. We're back. Craig's going to tell us who he selected.
I chose Jill.
Haven't seen each other since their date. We always do both sides. Say hello to Jill Thorndike. Hi, Jill. Make yourself at home back there. Welcome to the show, and Craig will start us off.
Well, initially, I had contacted Jill, and we were going to make a decision on what we were going to do on the date. And she had mentioned going to the batting cage and maybe hitting a few balls around, which would have been nice. I could wear a hat and shorts or something like that. But
Right.
I thought maybe something a little more traditional, so we decided that we'd go out to dinner and have a nice dinner, possibly some drinks.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you feel about this? Did you want to keep it a little more casual and kind of light?
Well, he sounded very, very nice on the phone, and I was very much looking forward to the date.
But when I didn't want him to have to plan the whole entire date, and I thought maybe he could plan the first part, I could do the second. And he wanted to, rather than plan it, wait and see how his comfort zone was.
Oh, yeah, he's like that, you know. He mentioned that when he started out. I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you met her there, or did you go pick her up?
Actually, I met her there.
And what did you think when you saw her?
Oh, I was very impressed.
I'll bet you were. I bet right then you thought, second half of this date seems a real good idea to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you think when you saw him, Jill?
Chuck, he restored my faith in blind dates. And,
Really?
He did. I guess I was expecting, based on he didn't seem like maybe quite as adventurous as I tend to be, and I don't know, I was thinking of kind of like an accountant type, horn-rimmed glasses maybe, which would have been okay if he's a nice guy, but, you know, I see him and it's like a bonus, you know. He's not only nice, but he's gorgeous. I mean, he's got gorgeous blue eyes, and I was very, very pleased.
Oh, a bonus.
Did you know she was feeling this way at any time during this date?
She seemed a bit nervous at first, and I could tell a little bit like during dinner that she was just shaking.
Tell me about dinner.
Dinner was very pleasant. Again, we had met, and we sat down, and she sat directly across from me. And again, I was nervous as well because it was kind of a blind date, you know, thing. I did see her, though, to my advantage. But
did he do anything to help you relax, Jill?
He did. I was kind of nervous, and it seemed like it was a small table, but it seemed like we were, you know, you had to like lean over and practically yell to be heard. And he switched tables to a corner table so we could sit adjacent to each other. And during dinner, he held my hand, and I thought that was very sweet. I haven't had that happen in years. That was very romantic.
This is going real well.
Oh, it was.
So now, was there a second part to this date, or did you just end it there?
Well, after dinner, we went out by our car, and I went out and I picked up some roses that I had for her, and I gave her some roses, and that time she had some cookies and chocolate for me in a basket, which made me very happy.
Sure.
So,
why is it women always get flowers and guys are going, cookies, yes.
And there it was very nice, so I gave her a nice kiss to show my gratitude.
Mm-hmm. And how'd that go, Jill?
He was very thankful, Chuck. No. Actually, I was quite thankful, too. So. No, I mean, when he said showing his gratitude. But.
So now what happens? Do you go on with the second half?
Yeah, we decided that we would drive down PCH to Laguna Beach. And there was a nice little restaurant with a patio overlooking the cliffs and the beach and things like that. And we want to have a few more drinks and walk along by the cliffs along the railing there.
So romantic part of the evening starts.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, was this a romantic walk, Jill?
It was very romantic. It's such a nice area, and we have beautiful. The cliffs and the ocean. I guess a lot of people go there from here. And it was real foggy, though, that night, so you couldn't really see much of the ocean. You just saw this nice fog. And
there are nice to be lost in the fog sometimes.
Yeah, well, with him, sure. I mean, he's a nice person to get lost with. But there are a lot of.
Sounds like this is going real well.
He was intelligent and kind and nice.
So how did the date end?
Well, from Laguna Beach, we decided that we should get back to where we were at one time. Mm-hmm. And when I drove back to her car, she had mentioned she had some champagne, and I thought, wow, nice, you know. And so we decided we'd have the champagne at my place, which wasn't too far away.
I see.
And
how come you didn't bring out the champagne a little earlier, Jill?
Well, I didn't want to seem presumptuous, you know, and also, I mean, speaking of comfort factor, I thought maybe I'd see how the date was progressing.
So you go back to his place and you have a little champagne, and what happens, Jill?
Well, we sat and talked, and I was sitting kind of close to the edge of the couch. I actually started to fall off at one point, but he was right there to pick me back up again, and I saw this book, and it was a hardbound book, something like Fabulous Sex and Troubled Times, or something like that, and I thought, well,
Fabulous Sex and Troubled Times. Oh, I've just got to get that for my coffee table.
I know.
Coffee table book. Yeah. I think it was my roommate's. But I believe I believe it's.
It was either your roommates, it was yours, or it just materialized that night.
It's, by the way, it's interesting sex in difficult times, I think.
Interesting.
Well, it sounds like you guys had a great date. It really does. Let's take a look and see who the audience picked for you. They like Jill, 60%, 59. So if you'd like to ask her out again, we'll take her.
Jill, would you go out with me again?
Oh, I'd love to.
Come on, Jill. Have a seat. Well, good date. I like this. You're going real good today. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show and sharing your day with us. We appreciate it. That's our show for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more singles trying to make a love connection. It's all the time we have. I hope all your dates are good ones tonight. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.
Chuck Woolery's wardrobe furnished by Bernini. This is John Cervenka speaking for Love Connection. Love Connection is an Eric Lieber production produced in association with and distributed by Warner Brothers Domestic Television Distribution.